discuss today's top stories. Nick Ferrari is here and Tim Campbell. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to both of you.
Good morning to both of you.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Should we start off, first of all, with this announcement that Rishi Sunak made during a press conference at Downing Street, confirming a delay on the ban of new petrol and diesel cars and a major change to the government's approach to achieving net zero by 2050. A lot of people saying, well, it's sort of backtracked, this is very different to what he initially set out, but also a lot of interest in the fact that the announcement was in a press conference and not in the House of Commons.
It's really interesting. Boris Johnson, back in 2020, made a big commitment by 2030 would get rid of petrol and diesel cars. And that was lauded by everybody as a great idea, a leading light for the world around climate change and everything else. And now to take it back, there's lots of people from in the motor industry who are really up in arms about this because they've invested billions into preparing for these electric cars. But I think what's more important is that we have to make a clarity about what do we stand for, what's our position around climate change, because I think we have an opportunity to lead, and this kind of takes us back ever so slightly. What do you think, Nick?
I'm part of the way with you. It's interesting, as you say, Holly. Why was this actually not...
What does that mean?
This has caused a bit of a row. Because Sir Lindsay Hoyle, just to remind your viewers, he's the Speaker of the House of Commons, so it's his job to try and keep our MPs in order. He's writing to Rishi Sunak today saying this should have been debated in the House before it was made. So there's a bit of, as Tim rightly referenced, there's a bit of storm.
So is this the fact that it was in a conference?
Yes,
it was like a press conference.
So Lindsay asserts by procedure this actually should have come before the House before it's put out to the people. So there's a bit of a row going on there that the MPs have the right to debate it before you and I get to hear about it.
Wow.
So, this is quite plain. This is the start of the general election. Make absolutely. Our good friend Camilla Tominey writes as much. We all know Camilla and we love her, and her verdicts are always spot on. So this is the start of the campaign. To your point, yes, you're absolutely right. Motor manufacturers, you've got Ford, you've got the owners of Peugeot and Vauxhall saying this is wrong. You've got JLR, Jaguar Land Rover, and Toyota saying. I would just say this. He's not banning. You know, you can still go and buy yourself an electric car.
Yeah.
And to his point, it's worth just pausing. The United Kingdom is responsible for less than 1% of global emissions around the world. Less than 1%.
Yeah.
Now, we must do our bit.
And we should still reduce,
But if it is causing pain, and if Mr Sunak were here, he would say, look, I'm telling you, in some instances, it's £15,000 these policies will cost an average household per annum each year. In Darlington, it's a swing seat, no surprise, no surprise. It's £10,000, and we will not make the planet better by bankrupting people in Britain. That's his point. I think it needs to at least be debated. I can see where he's going, but I take on board where you are. I think the thing
for me is that the motor industry is not the be-all and end-all for climate change. There's many other things that we could be debating. This is one element. But for many people, particularly for our nurses who have to get back and forward to work, parents on the school run, the car is essential for many people to get back and forward to work. So it's very important this is debated, and we need a clarity about what we're going to do.
OK.
Have we showed the actual VT of him speaking?
Do you want to have a quick listen? This is what he had to say.
Let's see what he had to say.
I'm announcing today that we're going to ease the transition to electric vehicles. You'll still be able to buy petrol and diesel cars and vans until 2035. We will give people far more time to make the necessary transition to heat pumps. We'll never force anyone to rip out their existing boiler and replace it with a heat pump. And to help those households for whom this will be the hardest, I'm introducing a new exemption today so that they will never have to switch at all.
Well, there you go. He is buying a bit of time there for everyone, isn't he? But we'll be talking about this further, I'm sure.
Let's talk about the King and the Queen, because they did a state visit to France. They went off to the Arc de Triomphe. Well done. Thank you very much. I am fluent in French.
She's been practising that all morning, and I've got to say, that was the best she's done.
They was there by the French President Emmanuel Macron and his lovely wife. Now, they had a banquet. It included lobster, crab dish, inspired by the tastes of Louis...
Go on, clever clogs.
Louis
what does that say then?
VIII.
Louis VIII? How'd you get 8?
Louis 14.
He's got a number after his name.
How'd you get 8?
There's 10 and a 1.
Which comes before the 5.
OK, so it's 14.
14.
Louis the 14th.
So much on Triumph. I think we forgot that bit.
It was followed by a lovely French poultry marinated in champagne and gratin. I mean,
wowee.
how lovely is that?
No cost of living crisis there.
I know you've got a lot of jobs on your hand. Is there a chance you could be our ambassador in Paris?
Oh, my God, yes,
What you would
please.
do for diplomatic relations?
I'll be your
Oui.
assistant.
Oui, I
You know
can do
what?
it.
You attempted it. Someone who had greater success at speaking French yesterday was the King himself.
Yes.
He delivered a whole speech
Oh, it
in
was
French.
amazing.
Let's just have a quick listen to him.
Votre générosité nous rappelle que ma famille et moi-même avons été très émus par les hommages rendus en France à ma mère, Ferrari, dont les funérailles ont eu lieu il y a une année.
Would you like me to translate?
In Birmingham accent.
The nation is waiting.
Well, he did talk about his mum there, and actually, this isn't new for the royal family to go to a country
it's
and
lovely.
speak their language. It is so lovely.
Yeah.
It's so impressive, and his mum did the same thing. She did a speech in French as well.
Monsieur le Président, Mesdames, Messieurs, je vous remercie chaleureusement, Monsieur le Président, de m'avoir invité en France pour célébrer le centenaire de l'entente cordiale et d'avoir prononcé des propos aussi aimables à mon égard ce soir. C'est un plaisir d'être au retour à Paris.
That's amazing.
I know, it's impressive, isn't it?
Well, I'm very fortunate I do speak a bit of French. I think we have to agree the Queen is like an A-level student, whereas even I think King Charles would admit he's struggling in the third year.
Oh,
His
don't say
pronunciation
that.
of some... But it's fantastic. They should do that.
Yeah.
The first king to go to France since 1946.
Really?
Because, of course, we had a Queen who served so many...
Yeah.
History in the making, and I think the French have looked after them absolutely
Yeah,
marvellously.
Very true. And on the 100th, well, coming up to the 100th year of the Entente Cordiale,
Yep.
it's really important that he's going... You like that, innit?
It's really good. Say it again.
No, because I'll trip up on my teeth. I'll get through my teeth. You can't do that again. Right? But essentially, I think it's important for our relationship
Absolutely
with
right.
our French cousins because there were lots of issues around discussion around small boats and lots of other things. So the soft power of the monarchy is often not talked about
Quite
enough.
right too.
So actually, him leading the charge by making sure the relationship is as strong as possible, hopefully that will help the political debates going on behind the scenes.
The
they
French
come
connection we
into
can all celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vive la différence, as I'm sure you were about to say.
Oui.
I'll try and tee that.
On the same subject of the King, though, did
Yes.
you see the bikers who
yeah.
actually bumped into Prince Charles?
Yeah.
They had their camcorders on because they were filming for their YouTube channel and literally caught a whole conversation with the King in Balmoral. It was absolutely amazing. Let's have a look.
The weather was better.
Yeah, I know, it's typical.
Yeah.
But the midges are horrendous. Yeah.
The worst I felt this year was this morning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh my God, so bad.
So horrible.
it's typical.
Do you ever stay in the estate house there?
No, we used to.
Yeah.
Camp.
You can't.
When I was very young, my father and my sister,
It's just lovely. I
a
mean, what
picnic or a
amazing
barbecue or
location.
something. Anyway,
Well, lovely to meet you.
look after
Yeah.
yourselves.
Thank you very much.
Take care, don't fall off.
Isn't it just lovely just seeing him like that?
I think the thing people don't... We've had the privilege of meeting the King, and he is so sociable with his team led by Eva, Omagori and others. He's really engaging, and you've got to remember, he's had years of this through the Prince's Trust and other activities, talking about climate change, as we just mentioned beforehand. And what you saw there is a moment where he's got that humour, which is really good. I think what he said, though, particularly for many of us who are getting on in age, it's good for the soul to go out for a walk.
Isn't he right?
It's so
Really
good
true.
for you.
You reach my age, it's the only exercise you can really
21
do.
again.
Shades
Not
of
the
his-
only exercise.
Well, I know. Well, it's but a dream.
It's Sacre bleu,
Alison. Not now. Oh, secours. Oh, secours. Shades of his dad, though, then, when he said, "Ooh, don't fall off." That's the sort of thing Philip would say, isn't it?
Isn't it?
That's
Yeah.
exactly what the Duke of
Totally.
Edinburgh... Don't fall off.
Thank you both. Stay put
Thank
for
you.
now.
Yeah, don't go anywhere.